Oh, oh yeah,
Well,
the
so
lights, too.
done. Hi.
Excuse me.
Hello, everyone.
Is it live?
very
Oh,
bright.
hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm going to do this the whole time, so we have to be uncomfortably close.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you guys for coming to our panel. How many of you guys have seen a Mindcrack charity live stream? Nice. Thank you guys so much for supporting. Do what? The Zelda-thon count. Yeah, that'll count.
Sure, that
Definitely,
counts.
for sure. So we wanted to have a panel where we were able to talk about kind of the reasoning why we do it, the methods in which we use to plan all of our live streams, and then take questions from you guys at the end. So while we're talking and answering different questions that we have kind of already preset, if you have any questions, keep them in your mind because we're going to do a 15-minute Q&A at the end. We'll introduce ourselves just in case there's anybody in the room who isn't familiar with who they are. We are, I guess. They, not me, just them. My name is Aurelian, and I'm a group member of Mindcrack. I also work for Twitch, and I help coordinate some of the various components of our Mindcrack live streams.
Indeed. My name is KurtJMac. I joined Mindcrack in early 2012, but before then I started Far Lands or Bust, which is a charity for Child's Play charity that I've kept up, and then of course I've participated in the Mindcrack marathons.
Hi, my name is OMG Chad.
And we are Chevit now.
Can we take this off?
I think so.
I don't remember what we were talking about here. Oh yeah, I know. Yes.
Wow.
I am Matt, also known as Sevidus, and I do a lot of the organization along with these fine folks for the Mindcrack marathon. And the timer finally started. That was actually bugging me. Sorry. Yeah.
Hi, I'm OMG Chad, and my claim to fame about all the charity stuff is I've, of course, helped with Mindcrack Marathon, especially with a lot of the technical camera work side, not the camera work side, but basically getting all the equipment. And then also with Game Changer Charity, I've been the main streamer for a few times on their charity UHCs where they partner with Twitch. And I've had a great time working with Game Changer, going to hospitals and giving back to the community that way. So that's how I do charity. Hooray!
Hi, I'm Packrad. I'm one of the other guys here. I've just done the stuff with the Mindcrack marathons and gone with them for all the trips for that. Including the trip down for Extra Life to Florida last year. Earlier this year, yeah. It was at some point. Yeah, we had, yeah. Just have a lot of fun giving back to the kids for stuff like that.
Hello, I am Jason, also known as Good, and I'm the guy that started Mindcrack, and Extra Life is the main charity I've helped raise money for through the marathons, which originally was suggested by Aurelian, our first marathon. But when we also did a really big marathon, for one of Kurt's Flavathons for Child's Play, and I've also helped with Chad for the Game Changer. So really, just all the children-based charities, help with organization and everything that we can do to bring everyone together to raise money.
So Kurt, you were one of the kind of in Mindcrack, even as individuals, one of the first people that started the idea of doing a charitable stream, continuous series. What was the reasoning behind doing that? Like, how did you spark the idea of going like, I should do something and I should do it for charity?
Well, when I started Far Lands or Bust as a journey, it started to gain some followers, and I just felt, I don't know if it was my character or what, that I could use this attention for a good cause, for charity. And the reason I started playing Minecraft to begin with was in part thanks to Penny Arcade. They made a couple comics. I learned about Minecraft, and from there I got hooked. Penny Arcade, who also do PAX, all the PAX conventions, they started a charity called Child's Play Charity. This charity gets toys, books, games to kids in hospitals around the world, and I found that to be a very neat connection to both the source of how I found out about Minecraft, and then we can use all this kind of notoriety from Far Lands or Bust to then turn around and help Child's Play charity. So very early on, I think it was episode 28 or 32 in the series, opened up very simply, just wanted to raise $820, put up a website, farlandsorbust.com, put up they didn't even have their own widgets at the time, Child's Play. Had to put up a third-party chip-in widget, I think it was called. And we beat that in 5 days. We raised that $820 in 5 days. So that really sparked, I thought it'd be a little thing. It'd take a couple months to reach that goal, but in 5 days, all the fans that I had at the time raised that money. So each time I've kind of upped the ante of what we can raise, and it was $8,200. So far to now, we've raised over $375,000 for Child's Play charity, which always blows my mind because I started very humbly just saying, let's go for $820. That could be hard to get, but yeah, Far Lands or Bust is very different than the Mindcrack marathon, very different from Zeldathon, Desert Bus, all these other marathons that do live streams over a weekend or for a week, because I've taken a more slow approach, which really reflects the series, taking the slow approach, walking all the way to the Far Lands. And I feel like that's differentiated the series, but also it's a little bit more my speed, more my personality, being a little bit more laid back and taking things easy. But I think it has really worked out, and then just expanded upon that with was it the first Mindcrack charity marathon that went to Far Lands or Bust?
Yes.
Yeah. And from that, we got $100,000 over the first charity Mindcrack marathon that went to the Far Lands or Bust goal, which then met that goal, which meant I would have a flobathon, and it's really just expanded from there. And it's one of those things that, starting a little YouTube series, I'd never really done much charity work or volunteer work even before then, even either locally or whatever. So it's really a whole community that you don't expect to see, or maybe the outside world doesn't expect to see, of the gaming community, which is also one of the reasons Penny Arcade started Child's Play charity, was to flip that kind of misconception that gamers are all hunkered down in their basements and self-centered, or raging over their video games, and actually turning around and giving back to the communities, to kids. And there's obviously Extra Life. There's so many charities that have now focused on gaming and the gaming community, and I'm really glad to be a part of that.
So good. The first one that we ever did went to Flob, right?
That's correct.
And since then, we've done multiple other charity live streams, marathons, things like that. But every year, it seems that we tend to do it a little bigger, a little better, and we always add something new. What's the process like when we're sitting down as a group and we're talking about what we did last year, other than just we want to raise more money? What do you think, what's the process that goes through your brain when you're like, how do we make this better? How do we give back more to the people who are donating? What does that look like?
Right. Each time you do something like this, you learn a lot from the mistakes and also the things that go well. And for us, doing the first one for Far Lands or Bust, we set up some servers and gave the community something for their. I think you're always trying to make people not only make it easy for them to give to charity, but also give them something in return. I know people always say, charity is about just giving and making sure that, that you're giving money to a good cause. But it's also nice for the people that are giving to the charity to feel like they're getting, something small out of it as well. So we've tried to always include the community that's giving a lot of money in with the whole event. The way we did that in the first Flobathon is we had a Minecraft server set up that they could join us on, and then the next year, whenever we did the first Minecraft marathon for Extra Life, we did something similar where we had some servers set up that people could play with us, and they could use their money to kind of vote on some of the things that we were doing. But when it comes down to the organization, we always kind of try to go back and look at what worked, what didn't work, and we went really crazy with it last year, as you guys know, and got Microsoft involved, and they loaned us their loft in San Francisco, and we were able to fly in the majority of the group into San Francisco. And the planning for that went from how are we going to organize 24 hours for charity from us all being at home to how are we going to all get to one place and be live for 48 hours straight, fill all 48 hours of that with something that's not only entertaining, but stuff that's going to promote raising money for the charity. And how are we going to include the community in that as well? And I think that's one of the biggest struggles each time we go back to it is, okay, this is what we did last year. And honestly, last year was so fantastic. Doing exactly the same thing would be good, but we want to do it better. And so we started pretty much the moment we left last year trying to plan this year to make sure that this year's marathon was going to be even better, and that'll be happening in October. And Microsoft once again has gave us the law. We're going to have more of the group there, and we learned a lot by doing it last year, and we've been planning pretty much steadily since last year. You know, we sent out a big Google Doc and let all the community that watched and donated and participated in their own way vote on what was good, what was bad, how could we improve, because even while we're there and it's happening, we're constantly having meetings like what's going well, what do we need to change, could we be doing better at any of these things, planning for this one has been taking quite a bit of all of our time. Sevidus does a lot of work. Drew the camera. I feel like calling him a cameraman just doesn't fill it enough.
DP.
Yeah, no, Drew the Superman.
Yes.
You think Jeff's a hero. The real hero is Drew. Yeah, there he is, right there. He's holding the camera. Just
He's
look
great.
at him.
Round of applause for him.
Drew the camera crew.
Drew the
he has a
camera
whole
crew. He's a camera crew in one man. He does a fantastic job of making sure everything looks good for the people at home. And we're just trying to always improve and spend every bit of try not to be as efficient as possible in the planning process when it goes into making this the best stream possible.
I feel like I had a good perspective on the question, which was like, what do you do? How do you sit down and figure it out? The very first meeting that we had about the first 48-hour live stream there in San Francisco, I remember Sevidus got on the call and he said, okay, how do we raise as much money as we can for kids? And that is the only motivation we have. And there were many ideas that were cut because they would cost too much, and the income or the donation amount income to how much it would cost to pull off was too great. And using that as a temperature gauge, that was basically how we looked at almost every single aspect of the stream, which I thought was, which for some strange reason was kind of eye-opening. That it wasn't like, well, what do we want to do? It was, how are we going to raise the most money for the kids?
Right. Like I think we learned that last year with the FIFA segment, for example. I hate to throw FIFA under the bus, but it was a lot of fun playing it, but it doesn't lend itself towards raising money. That'd be a great stream for us to do as a group stream, but for the charity stream, it's something that probably needs to be cut because it's not a game that translates into community interaction towards raising money.
Yeah,
It's getting cut this year.
I know it is.
when it comes down to it, we're really just entertainers who are just using our avenue to get money raised, and we got to, while we can do the entertainment aspect of it, we got to actually include the fundraising in there. And there's been a lot of games that we've had a list both for like what people found most entertaining and what kept them interested, as well as we've also looked at ones like can we put something in here to say donate now? I mean, like the UHC is the most obvious one where you get a lot of donations from that just to embarrass us more with various things you throw at us. But there's a lot of games where the game might be entertaining. There's not really a way to throw a donation in there, and it's all about picking the right game for the cause.
So Chad brought up a good point, and what a lot of people don't know is that we were really lucky last year in that we had Microsoft support to be able to have a studio. They gave us a lot of the technical equipment that we needed in order for us to stream, and a lot of the things that we had to do in order to put the event on, we had to rent computers, we had to do all of that stuff, costs thousands and thousands of dollars, and it is very expensive for us to be able to do that, and we obviously don't take any of that out of the donations. When you guys donate, it goes directly to the organization. So we have the task of being able to find companies to sponsor those various components, and how do we not only raise money for the organization, but how do we secure funds for us to be able to actually put on the logistics of the event? Sevidus, you work a lot with various companies for sponsorships and different things like that. What are some of the challenges, and is it difficult to sell a company on, well, we're not going to be doing much, it's just for charity though, and how do you do that? Like, what roadblocks do you hit, and how do you avoid those?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, companies are always, no company's going to say, I hate charity, because if for no other reason, they could hate it, that's fine. They're not going to say that, because that's bad PR, right? I approach it very much from a business perspective, as Good was mentioning. Or that was Chad that was mentioning that, where, I look at one of our segments, that maybe this hour that we're trying to fill, like, oh, we should do a skydiving segment. And it's like, okay, so how much money are we going to raise versus the thousands of dollars it takes to put someone in the sky? Plus the fact that I'd probably have to bribe a bunch of people to actually do it, because no one's going to jump out of an airplane, right? And so approaching it from the business perspective also allows us to focus on our company relationships. Every single person in Mindcrack has a lot of both business and personal relationships with people in positions at corporations that could, help us out. For example, the Microsoft Connect and all that kind of stuff. It's just a matter of us phrasing what we're doing in sort of the right light to get them to understand, okay, what we're doing here is not only is it beneficial to us, but a company wants to know how it's beneficial to them, right? And how having their name on the charity, whether it be on shirts that we're wearing or, whatever the case, this hour sponsored by blah, 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 right? I don't want to give out any names because we're in this process right now for the one coming up.
Sponsored by Sevidus' sunglasses.
Yes, who made those? I can't read it. It's too bright up here. It's, I don't know, spider or something. But yeah, we reach out. We have a ton of people on our contact list that we reach out to constantly. And I think a big part of this year, the difference is because we've done this a couple of times now, it's always in my head, at least. It's always in Good's head for sure, right? This daunting 48-hour task, and it's usually a painful thing in our heads, like, oh God, we got to do this again, and it's stressful and all that stuff. But because we know it's coming, back in January we were talking to people about it, because we would just have a meeting with somebody and then off to the side mention, okay, so we just made this awesome deal that makes money. Let's talk about charity now. And as we go through our negotiating process for actual business type stuff, when we throw in the charity stuff, it actually makes it a lot easier to work with companies once we know them, we've already been talking to them, and then it's like, hey, throw us a bone. Why don't you donate a whole bunch of like $10,000 worth of stuff so that we can give it away during the marathon? That's a pretty effective way for us to actually get other companies involved.
So then the second component of not only the logistics of getting sponsors and donations and prizes and all that stuff is actually putting on the production. And whether it's an in-home, where the first one that we ever did was just us all in our various own houses, like switching who was live streaming at the time, and that even takes production coordination. So anyone can chime in on this one, but what are some of the challenges? Do you prefer doing a huge in-person where we're like renting cameras and TriCasters and microphones? Do you prefer the ones that are in our own houses where we're all just there, but then we're transferring who's going to start streaming and what's going to go on? Like, what do you prefer? And then what are the biggest challenges in being able to decide what to do?
So I'll let Chad take most of this one because this is kind of what he does. Like specifically talking about our 48-hour stream, it kind of works that Good and I are sort of seeing the overall sort of picture as to what's going on and actually scheduling everything and everybody and making sure everything's done. And then, of course, every member is contributing to how do we raise money and how do we maximize that amount of money. When it comes to the production side of things, we usually go like this.
For a long time, my background was in podcasting and basically radio. And so I have a pretty good knowledge, and I was a producer, so I handled basically from concept to distribution of a product, when that product would be a podcast. So I have a pretty good understanding of basically when the light bounces off your skin, it'll hit a camera. That camera will go to somewhere. It has to be switched. Then it has to be encoded. Then it has to be processed. Then it has to be edited. Then it has to be sent out. So that was something that I tend to bring to the team when it comes to all the equipment. And it is amazing. I can't tell you how many times I've had panic attacks over the equipment list for one of these things because every single aspect needs to be cataloged, found somewhere. I don't think...
Every little cable.
Every cable. There are so many freaking cables used in one of these productions. And so this year, in the past, we got it from about 4 different sources because once again, you're asking a company for a donation. You're asking, and many will not say, that would wipe out our entire warehouse for you to take it for a weekend. So we grab it piecemeal from location to location. What was the question? I don't even remember. How do you deal with it? I mean, what do I prefer? I think it's hard because I definitely feel like there is a value add to us all being in person, being able to, if you're going to pie someone in the face, that's pretty freaking hilarious, and that will get donations, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's hard to do that digitally.
It's hard to do that digitally, or it'd be like, well, I'm going to pie myself in the face, So the 2 different options are, in person, or everyone is at their house, at their own desk, doing their own thing, and you just kind of stop streaming, someone else picks it up. I guess that I would prefer the in-person from a concept point of view, but definitely from a organization point of view, the remote is so much easier and a lot less stressful. But it's all for the kids, and so any time sunk in, any stress, it's going to come back 10, 20, 100,000 fold, and so it's worth it in the end.
So you have the idea to have a live stream or a marathon or an event to raise money for charity. You figure out how you're going to get the donations. You figure out the production standpoint. If you backtrack 2 steps, you have to figure out where the money is going to go, right? What charity that money is going to benefit. And with so many different charities that are all deserving and they're all great organizations with wonderful causes, how do you start to pick one? Like, what is we get asked a lot in Mindcrack specifically. We donate to Extra Life, and we will have people say like, well, they don't have a hospital in my area. Why can't you pick a different thing? Or why aren't you working with XYZ other charity? So what does that look like when we're having the discussions behind the scenes, or even if you're doing it on your own when you started Firelands or Bust? How did you decide this is the charity that I'm going to spend my time, my effort, and I'm going to give potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars to over another one?
I think that's always been a hard thing for us to decide because within the group, there's people that are, Kurt with Child's Play, Chad works more with Game Changer, and I've been working with Extra Life and as well as you. And I think I don't think any of us prefer one over the other either. I don't think it's something like that where it's like, these people.
It's not a competition.
Exactly. And if you look at MC Gamer, even though he's not here, Zeldathon always rotates where its charity goes. So I guess in his case, he is doing a better job of rotating where the money's going. I think what it kind of feels like as an organization is that we're hitting a lot of the different boundaries where, with Kurt working with Child's Play and Chad working with Game Changer and us working with Extra Life, we're kind of hitting a little bit of everything. And even though the main marathon may not be focused on a different charity each time, we all support the different events. Like whenever Game Changer has an event, Mindcrack all comes together and tries to help with the UHC, or all of us are supportive with Kurt's Firelands or Bust. So I think we kind of feel like we're doing a good job. And charity is one of those hard things too, where you feel, at least I feel like I need to do a lot of research before I'm going to put before I'm going to back any certain charity, you want to know where that money's going, and you want to really feel like the people that are running the organization are making sure the money is going a good place, their overhead is not excessive, and those sort of things. And once you kind of establish that, and you know that it's a good company, it's kind of hard to switch as well, because you've already established that these are reputable people, and you've seen where the money goes. Going down to Orlando for the Extra Life United and getting to meet the kids and all that sort of stuff really kind of resonates with with what you've done and where that money's gone.
I would say, if you're looking casually, just you in the audience or at home, charitynavigator.org is a great resource. If you don't want to spend hours researching a charity, charitynavigator.org is a great resource. They break things down pretty quickly and easily in a few graphs. The other thing is definitely reputability is with Child's Play. No, with Extra Life. Sometimes it's hard to remember exactly. There's 3 of them. With Extra Life, they support the Children's Miracle Network of hospitals. So that's a really reputable charity. It's been around for a long time. There's a lot of very large businesses behind it. So that one right off the bat, I was kind of like, yeah, I get this. With Game Changer, it's been fantastic to really be at the heart. I know Jim, the CEO. I know Jake, who runs almost everything behind the scenes. It's been great to know that charity on a very, very personal level, and then to also take a hand in when they give back and see where the money goes. And most charities will have a gala or something like that. I had the opportunity to go to their gala and hear the stories of the families that were affected, and it's life-changing. It is absolutely, in every sense of the word, life-changing. And then it also, of course, confirms, what I was always hoping, that the money is going to the right place and to the right corporation.
I will say that now there are so many more choices, specifically in the gaming community. There's Child's Play, there's Extra Life, there's Game Changer, St. Jude, there's Take This, and UNICEF. All these able gamers. Yes, thank you. And they.
Should we keep going?
Yeah.
Hey, don't forget Block by Block. It was in
All
the
these
opening ceremony.
suggestions. Let's pull up Charity Navigator and look through them all. But yeah, certainly it's even in our case, since we've done some charity stuff, we even have charities approaching us because they see the support in the community that we draw. Certainly, me by myself, when I was starting Far Lands or Bust, I was having to make this choice myself and looking up these third-party apps that I can track the donations. So certainly, if anybody in the audience is considering either Minecraft charity or whatever fundraiser you might want to do, you certainly have a lot more to choose from. And you might not say, like, we have charities coming to us. You have to do the research yourself, Charity Navigator. But it is helpful to reach out. All of these, these are all nonprofit organizations. They want help. They want people out there to do fundraisers. And sure, a big 48-hour charity marathon with Mindcrack will raise however many hundreds of thousands, $250,000. Far Lands or Bust, the first season, raising $8,000 is just, I got just as much attention from Child's Play as the bigger Mario marathons and Desert Bus people did, just because the people working in all these organizations are really driven by the communities who raise money for their organizations, and it's a big cyclical relationship that comes out of that. And as you do more, and as more and more of these fundraisers happen, we're going to see more and more charities and causes that are going to find the gaming community to be a very helpful community for what they're trying to do.
I think on top of that, if you feel passionate about something and there isn't a charity specifically, targeting gamers, there are other charities out there that might not target gamers but are still worthwhile. I work closely with Charity Water and Animal Welfare Institute and a bunch of other, like Planetary Society, a bunch of organizations that have not in any way, shape, or form activated the gamer vertical. Wow, I'm using a lot. Have tried to get gamers to donate to them, And by starting to work towards them and by starting to raise money for them, they're starting to see, oh my gosh, this is actually a thing. And now they're reaching out, trying to work out, okay, how do we even get this entire culture of people, this massive amount of people, millennials and whatnot, to support these other causes too. So it's not like you have to go support a gaming cause, right? There's so many other causes out there as well.
I think one of the most interesting statistics from last year, and working for Twitch, I get to see a lot of numbers and kind of geek out at data, but we were working on a year-end review, and one of the jobs that I have at Twitch is to kind of maintain our big key relationships with like St. Jude, with Extra Life, with Game Changer, and we pulled a report, and we have a person at Twitch who's dedicated to tracking our charitable events on Twitch, not just with the big ones, but across the website, and just on Twitch, and just with our broadcasters, the gaming community on Twitch raised over $16 million for charity in 1 year. One year alone, that was last year. And that number continues every year to almost double. So the year before that, it was like 8, I think, and the year before that, it was like 4. So like they were saying, the gaming space and gamers are looking for ways to give back to good organizations, and not just the ones that we work with, but there's plenty of them out there, animal charities and Doctors Without Borders and water and all of that good stuff. So it's definitely something that we look at. Somebody touched on something, I think it was Chad, about getting to like meet the kids, and while he was talking about that, I had this memory of Sevidus, actually. 2 years ago, we went to Extra Life, and Children's Miracle Network has a big event that they have where they bring in all. Yes. They have a big event that they put on for everybody to come and meet all of the Miracle kids from Canada and from the United States. And so we got to go, a bunch of us from Mindcrack all got to go. And during this, they have a gaming competition where you're able to compete to win more money for your specific hospital, because we all support, Mindcrack is international and we all live in different states. So I support St. Louis and he supported Hawaii, and so he won the entire tournament. Do you want to tell the story, or do you want me to tell it? He won, and
It was $80,000.
It was $80,000, and the most that they had ever raised independently was like 10.
About 10, yeah.
10. So he raised the amount of money for that work. That hospital had ever, most at one time, raised $10,000, and here he is giving them a check for $80,000.
That wasn't the story I thought you were going to tell.
No,
So.
well, there's more to it. So part of him being able to do that was being able to deliver the check, and you also then got to gift the kid.
Yeah, so especially even if you don't do that for a charity, right? Every charity will recognize, as Chad was saying, like every tiny little contribution that you do. And so, yeah, we were there, and I had just had breakfast with the family from Hawaii, and I was living in Hawaii at the time, so that's why I support Kapiolani. And I clearly remember the kid basically talking about how awesome it was that I got to play video games, right? He's like, oh my God, you get to play video games. And then he straight up just asked me, do you have a PlayStation 4? And I was like, yeah, I got that, what's up? And he was just like, oh, Dad, he's got a PS4. And it, turns out that the kid was never able to get a PS4 because, his parents told him, no, your medical bills are too high, and all that kind of thing. Yeah.
I'll tell it. So Sevidus, we worked with PlayStation that year, and Sevidus got to gift the kid a PlayStation 4, and his family had never been able to afford it because they had medical bills that they couldn't pay for. And so, oh man, now I'm gonna get it. So he wasn't, a lot of the times when we're able to give back and we're able to see what we're doing, there's a person that we're affecting, and this kid, to him, money, giving a check to $80,000 doesn't really do much for him, but we were able to get a sponsor, PlayStation, to give the kid a PlayStation 4 and games, and the kid was like, this is the best day ever. This kid has gone through cancer, this kid has done all this stuff, and Sevidus got to give him a PlayStation 4, and the kid was like, it was like the best thing.
It was just like a family waterfall.
Everyone was just crying, and I got him. It was funny because afterwards I got a message from the charity, and they were like, Sevis lost it, and it was like so emotional.
I don't lose it either.
He doesn't. No.
I do not lose it.
No.
Clearly.
So knowing that that was kind of one of the most impactful moments for us and continues to drive us forward, do you guys all also have other stories of being
Yeah.
able to be impacted personally by the stuff that we've done?
Just to drive the point home, to put you in the mindset of what goes through, what a family has to go through whenever there's a life-threatening illness, is, of course, you worry about money. Of course, you worry about the health of your child or family member. But also, you spend weeks in a hospital. And hospitals are not happy places. It's very hard to get out of the oppression of the hospital, out of the routine of every day getting checked, every day talking to your nurse, every day talking to your doctor, trying to get updated. There's many procedures that, of course, are not done anywhere else. Just one of them. Anytime you leave a room, you have to get a hand sanitizer squirt and rub it on your hands. It's just like not a very homely place. And it's very hard to kind of escape that situation. And so, once again, just to drive that point home, is if for many parents, making their child smile is a miracle in itself in that situation. So making a child happy for a week is unattainable normally in those situations. And that's one of the things that I definitely know with Child's Play. They go in and they give games and distractions basically from that type of environment to children. And it is hard to quantify when we're sitting in such a fantastic auditorium with our friends how big of a difference something like that makes to a child with a life-threatening illness.
Yeah. I mean, I think Chad and Sevis really summed it up. I said I think Chad and Sevis really summed it up. I mean, like Chad said, or like you mentioned, going down to Orlando and getting to meet all the champions from all the different hospitals. You get to really spend a whole week with all the kids that, well, not all the kids, just the champions themselves, and they represent the hospitals. But yeah, like Chad said, spending time in a hospital, like I went through that. I mean, it wasn't a kid, but I was a kid when my dad had cancer, and spending over a year every day, going to the hospital, and it's a really crappy environment, and knowing that, it's got to be way worse for a kid, and as a parent, I know that if my daughter was, her life was threatened like that, and having to go through that, it would be, I can't imagine what it's like, and so everything that we do to help them ease that in any way is really important.
I think too, one of the interesting things about the charity work that we do is, for me personally, it hit home this year when, we go to these places and we meet these kids, and, Good and I are parents, and so for us, it's like, wow, that could be my kid, right? And it always is, you're always kind of detached from it still, though, because it's not someone that you know, and it could be. And this year, I was on Facebook, and a high school friend of mine reached out to me, and a girl that I've known for a decade plus, and she was like, hey, my daughter is the champion for Extra Life this year at our hospital. Yeah. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like she's gonna be at the Extra Life event with me, and it's somebody that I knew, and it just hit home for me that like what we do affects people that we don't know, and it affects people that we do know, and it's just kind of one of those things that keeps us, moving forward and being able to do that. Do you guys have any plans or anything that you would like to do going forward in the future with charities? Any charity you want to work with, or any like goal, raise $1 million? Like, do you have any like set things in mind that you really want to accomplish?
Yeah, I think we have goals obviously for our marathons, and I think we are approaching being able to have $1 million for all time Mindcrack goal.
You mean for of all events?
Of all the marathons, all our marathons. Yeah.
Yeah, we're really close to that, I think.
Yeah,
I think after this marathon, we'll have over $1 million total.
We gotta do the math.
Yeah.
If we break $1 million this marathon, oh man, we got to do something.
I think when you go into each
Special.
marathon, you wanna do it even better. I mean, any amount of money is fantastic, but you wanna see it grow every year, I think, and just feel like it's you're doing the best you can, and the community's coming together again and again.
It's also just our competitiveness.
Yeah, there's
like,
a
geez,
bit of
we just
that.
wanna
As
beat what we
gamers, you're
did.
always going to be competitive, right?
Yeah, we just want to beat what we did last year.
Right.
Like, period. That's how it is.
Yeah, we're going to take questions too in just a minute. So if you guys want to start lining up, we're going to take some questions. That being said, last year we raised $250,000.
210, was it?
Was it 210?
Yeah.
208,
So
210,
it's
something like that.
200,000 in 48 hours. And the year before that, was it 100?
100,000,
It was
right.
100,000 in 24. So we effectively doubled it. Do you guys have a set goal for this year of what you want to do? Can you announce that? Can you
I
say
have an
it?
internal goal. I don't know that we've announced an external
We
goal
haven't
yet.
announced an external goal. We've had several meetings with Extra Life, in the last few months and stuff. But I think we're hoping to 300,000 or more, because again, you always want to go higher. I'd love to be like 500,000.
We didn't
but-
discuss that. We didn't. Yeah, we did not discuss that number. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yeah, no, and yeah,
That's
so
good.
yeah, don't, yeah. Let's just say 10 million. No.
Someone's a millionaire out there that wants to help us out.
No, it will be way, like, last year was great, and this is just going to be amazing this year, I think.
Yeah, I think we're doing a lot of things way better, and every year we learn, and yeah, before long we'll be raising 10 million in 7 hours.
Really.
Hi.
Hi. I had two questions. One of them was, what's happening with the Mindcrack vanilla survival world? And
It's not raising
will there be a
money
new-
for charity, so we're probably not going to talk about it much.
What's your other question?
Never mind.
Thank you.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Andrew. So I would love to donate like a couple hundos at your next marathon, but as
Do
a
it.
college student, I don't really have much money. So what are some things that I can do for, I guess, free?
Share
help
the
them in.
stream, definitely. One of the best things that people can do is, even if you can't donate even $1 or $100, right? Any amount helps, right? But even if you can't, you can still be super valuable watching the stream itself, tweeting it, sharing it, promoting it, telling your friends about it, telling your family about it, making it an event where you sit down with your friends or your family for that weekend and go, we're all going to be a part of this experience, is still very valuable. The thing, logistically, we look at sponsors and they want to know how many people watch the stream. So that helps. Just watching it helps us. Being able to show that we have the power to impact a number of people helps us gain sponsors. So anything that you do related to the stream helps. There's no way that you don't feel bad just watching, because even that helps us.
I think a lot of people underestimate the power of the one view, and it's a pretty powerful thing. When we're on, we broadcast this on Twitch and whatnot, one view can make the difference between whether the broadcast is on the first row or on the second row. And that right there, the conversion rate of clicks is an insanely different number, right? So even just one view on there or one hashtag on social media to where that hashtag gets bumped up a spot, right? Just the power of one view or one tweet is immense in the grand scheme of things.
Sorry, one more question. So Chad, you mentioned a few things that you had to cut off because it cost too much money. So what are a couple things that you, huge things that you had to cut off?
I think.
Equipment a lot of the
Okay,
times.
yeah, I know Sevenus was the one who said no to them. So what were they?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
There's just some things that we thought about doing, but it's like, wow, that costs that much?
Yeah.
Like, there's.
Sorry.
We tried to set up a mini golf segment that involved raising money for because we've been playing golf with friends. That's what Mindcrack's about now, and so we've tried to raise figure out a way to logistically bring that in, and the amount of equipment and stuff, and the rental fees and permits and stuff that would have made that possible. It would make more sense to do something in the space instead of trying to leave the space and do it. That's one example.
I think there's also some people. I think we wanted a waxer, someone to come and wax.
Yeah, so we had thought about having a professional.
I was really good at that, by the way.
Yeah.
You don't need a
professional
professional.
Brazilian waxer. to
Yeah,
come in
yeah,
and,
exactly. Put up a curtain.
Let's go.
And yeah, no. Or maybe I think I had suggested tattoos at some point.
Yeah,
and
most of the things
Like-
that I say no to end up still being in there, just in a different
In a different
form, in
format.
a way that's not
We just
costing
cheese it.
crazy amounts of money.
Right.
And as far as I'm concerned, it's still incredibly entertaining. You know, do we give a little taste of this year's kind of
No.
thing? Okay.
No. It's all
No.
surprise.
Yeah, it's hard to remember now. you know.
If we donate, if we get $1,000 in the next 10
Taste.
minutes, then we'll tell
I'm getting a
everyone.
little taste. There's a taste. Taste. That might be a theme
A little
Context
taste,
clues.
taste
in this one.
of something.
Even stuff like equipment, though, can be really expensive. Like renting
That's true.
renting TriCasters can cost thousands of dollars, which
That's
can
true.
significantly improve the quality of what we do and how the live streams are done. And so sometimes it's not even like a segment that we wanted to do. It's equipment where if we can't get it through like a friend who can lend it or a production studio
In
is
fact,
willing to
I
give
think
it to
that
us.
may have been the main discussion point when
Yeah.
Severus was like, "Oh, it's too expensive." Was either what type of cameras we were going to rent, if it was smarter to.
A great example of that, and Drew has fond memories of this, is the camera choice. We could either go with actual camcorders, which
Right.
were expensive, or we could go with DSLRs that, because of some silly tax regulation or something, they turn off after 30 minutes. And
Yes.
so
We had to go
for
by
that
and
entire marathon,
make sure to touch the
every 30
camera.
minutes we had to like touch the dial to make sure it didn't turn off or some,
Right.
And it
some
did
weird
at some
thing.
points, yeah.
And
Right.
yeah, it would just turn off, and the stream would freak out. Oh crap, we forgot to do that again. And
Exactly.
that was a
Forgot
nightmare.
about that.
That was a complete nightmare. But that was one of those cases where that
Where
was
we could get
probably
a
$6,000 or
DSLR from a friend
$7,000.
for
Yeah.
free,
Yeah.
or we could get actual Blackmagic Cinema 4D cameras for a lot of money, which we didn't do.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. The question I had was, have there been any charities that have thrown acts, like the proverbial wrench in the works, like they don't want to be associated, or it's just like, yeah, no, we're not going to do this? Has there ever been any charities that said no?
That say no to us raising money for them?
Like some charity.
Yeah, so there have been, there were,
there's been content.
there was content. So we had a sponsor, a potential sponsor last year who wanted to sponsor specific segments, and they would not give us money if we did it during certain games. They said, we will not give you money unless, and they even got specific with like people, like it has to be certain people and it has to be certain kinds of content because of, and that wasn't a charity, but that was a brand that they said, we want to help you, but in order for it to reflect properly on our brand, you have to follow X, Y, and Z, like certain things.
And that's just business, though.
That's really
happens.
business. Most charities aren't going to go, no, don't raise us money. And most of the things that they would say no to would get us banned on Twitch anyway, so we don't risk that. We tend to stay away from things that are bannable offenses sometimes. Sevidus skirts the line.
It's a
Indoor
broad.
band?
It's a broad line I kind of step onto.
You lay on it.
Okay.
And then roll.
It's fine.
Yeah.
You twerk on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
He does twerk every now and then.
Hi. I work for an organization that might be able to help with you. So who do we contact?
Good.
Yeah, you can get with me after.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Hi.
So the 2015 marathon, a highlight of it was the blindfolded Lego building.
I'm so glad you brought that up.
Go on.
Does it raise way more attention than video games does?
Yeah, it does.
Live physical games.
This is something that I literally just stumbled across it. So I was basically one night, late at night, I think I was talking to Paz or something on Skype. And I was like, oh, let's just play Lego, lol. And I've done Lego streams before on my own personal broadcasts. I wasn't doing it for charity or anything. I was just building Legos. And it's this weird Legos, just to trigger everybody. Legos. That's the trigger right there. Anyways, I was building Lego, and it's this weird phenomena where the viewer count, as soon as I started building, just kept going up. And I'm like, I'm building Lego. I'm following these instructions, and I'm putting these pieces together. I'm enjoying myself, but why are you watching this, right? And it's just it's this weird phenomenon. And so I was like, how can I take this concept and make it make a lot of money? And so I came up with this concept of somebody read me the stuff, read me the directions, while I'm blindfolded and can only feel the colors and feel the shapes and all these sorts of things. And I was thinking about who that other person should be, and the only other person that sort of made sense to me who would be basically the exact opposite of me would be Seth, right? Like in this situation where he's super, he prides himself on having these really descriptive things, and then I'll come back and say, it feels like a caterpillar, and smelling the colors and things like that. And it turned into this segment that really, really just worked and resonated. And I think a lot of that's because we have a lot of fun with it. And this is a great example, actually, though, of how we change things sometimes without telling me in the middle of a marathon.
Right. There wasn't bugs and air horns and all those things planned, but
no, they definitely
people
were not.
donated for them and said
to
if I
raise
donate,
money, we threw that in, and it worked out really well. So this
He
year's going
didn't
to
know
be
it either,
even
so-
better. No, he did not know that was going to happen.
Right.
It was
going in.
so bad. It was the worst. Like, imagine this. You're blindfolded and you trust somebody, okay? you
That's your
trust,
first mistake. You trusted us.
You trust your best friends to have your back. You're raising money for charity. It's going great. And then, Good, I don't even know how you told the stream. You said something like...
in chat.
Chat, yeah.
Oh, you just typed it?
Yeah.
You said
Typed it.
like, oh, for $500,
We could
I'll
have
put
just
one
held
of
up
these,
a sign in front of the camera.
For $500, we'll put a bug in front of Sevidus.
They came up with
I
it
didn't-
actually.
I didn't know
they,
that.
We have one viewer who really just loves to hurt us, and and she is amazing and super generous. And so she would say
hate her.
things like, "Can I make him pee his pants for like $40?" And we were like, "Ooh, how do we do that?" And then someone in the chat was like, "Get an air horn," and we were like,
That was
"Yes."
the worst. That was actually worse than...
Yes.
It wasn't worse than the bugs, but that was bad.
It was so
Like-
what we did to him is she donated, and then I think other people then did it like subsequent donations for us to just randomly come up right behind him and blow an air horn while he was blindfolded. It was
I
the
had
best.
no idea.
And
that
then
was
for the
coming.
rest of he would hear someone behind him and be like, "Why are they behind me? What is this?" And so the chat just like ate it up and they loved it. And so then somebody else had the idea, if I give like, it was like a couple $100 or something, will you put a scorpion beetle in the Legos? And so it was great because we did it, and his hand would hover like right around it and then not touch it. And so everyone was like on edge the entire time. And then he actually picked it up and he was like, "What is this?" And it's like all in his hand and he's touching it. And then he like realized,
He's smelling it. He's
he
like, I don't know.
realized what it was and just lost his mind.
Can I
He
just
was
say-
like, "This is not okay." He got up and like left. It was so good.
Like, here's the
It's so
thing.
good.
I'm willing to do a lot of things for entertainment, so I was willing to do it. But that was the closest in my entire life I've ever come to feeling like I was being legitimately tortured. like it was my heart. If we had a heart meter on me, then it was bad. I was stressed out. It was the most hellacious experience I've ever had raising money for anything, including myself. But
I
it was
also
worth
just
it.
remembered that you didn't actually have a blindfold on.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
He's
had
wearing his Chad's
underwear.
underwear.
You had
He had
my
underwear
underwear
on his
on your
head.
head.
Yeah, I was wearing your underwear on my head.
But this was also the same person who, so when we set goals for different things and different people will volunteer, and some of us have like hard lines. We're like, we're not doing that. And so one of the things
I would have
was,
said no, by the way.
well, so one of the things was, will you eat a bug? And I was like, nah, I don't need bugs. And everyone else was like, I'll do it for $500. And I was like, I value my stomach contents way too much to want to do that. And so I think it was Good on stream that like pressured me, and he was like, everybody's got a price. And so I was like, fine, $5,000 by the same person in the next hour, and I'll do it. Because I thought no one's going to do it. Not 2 minutes later, $5,000 donation. I was like, mother. This is for the kids, man. And so then I had also then looked at Good and I was like, but I'm only going to do it if you do it. And he was like, yeah, sure. So then Good and I both cried.
I almost
Good
threw up.
freaked
That was
out.
the worst.
Was it the ants? It was
but
the
we hadn't
ants.
even,
Yes.
no, I did ants.
She had the ants, and I had the
and he
pupae
did
or
something
whatever.
else. But
Yeah.
that stuff, like, it's not stuff that you think of happening until you're there. And then someone's like, oh, well,
It's fine. Don't worry about it. We will have bugs again
Yeah.
this year.
Do you remember
I'm
the
not doing
habanero?
Oh, I didn't do that either.
You had to eat the pepper,
The
didn't you?
peppers too. Yeah, that was like a lot.
Oh, that was like right at the start of the stream, and it about
Yeah, right
destroyed
at
And
the
I was
you.
just out. I had eaten a habanero, just out. Like, not
were
functional for the next, like, 3 hours because of that thing.
Yeah, that was bad for you. That was really bad.
But then there's also stuff that like we want people to donate for really bad. So like another YouTuber had come into the event, and I was like, I just really want to pie you in the face. And so I think we were in like a discount that hour. That's like if it was like buy one get one free. And so we were like, just somebody donate. So him and I pied each other simultaneously. I was almost going to donate like the $100 out of my own pocket because I wanted to do it so bad. It's good.
we got way off track there.
Sorry. Hello.
Hi, I have, well, the highlight was one of the blind Lego building, and I think another one of the highlights was when you played, and you and Ollie and Goo do not want me to bring this up, but when you played FNAF in the dark late at night.
Oh, no.
That was just good, and like, my question is, was that profitable, as in, could you do that from charity? And also, if you would, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, you said no air horns last year.
Yeah.
But like, if someone donated multi-$1,000s, would you actually allow them to air horn you?
Yes.
No one has a price. It's true.
I-
This year, I haven't told you.
Oh, are you gonna tell her about the ideas
I don't
Extra Life
think.
had?
Do we tell her? We can tell her this. This
Oh,
is maybe a good
okay.
teaser.
How do I get volunteered for things and
Well-
find out about it in front of hundreds of people?
The same way
No
I got air
commitment.
horned in front of thousands of people.
Yeah, but I
okay.
am a delicate flower.
And I'm not.
No. That's karma.
Yeah,
for
we should
you.
tell her. We should tell her right here, right now.
All right, tell her.
Because, well, the thing is, with all this pressure, you can't say no.
I 100% can say no. I'm a boss.
Go ahead, dude.
For
Go ahead,
charity?
Go ahead.
Okay, wait, what is this?
ahead.
Hold on, what is this?
So Mike at Extra Life wants to
of course he does.
do real life Five Nights at Freddy. And
No. I have to do it?
We want to build the 5-night set and put you in it. And do 5 nights for real.
For the
Do you
kids.
guys want me to do that?
Yeah.
Oh my god. You guys are terrible people. If you guys remember last year during the stream, what was the scary game I had to play? It wasn't Five Nights at Freddy's, was it?
No, it was Five Nights.
It was Five Nights.
And you wouldn't let us turn off the lights. The lights had to
I
be
did
on.
well because here's the thing. So we had shifts because it was 48 continuous hours. So we ran it in shifts where like some people would sleep while other people were awake, and that's how we were able to kind of stay sane because no one can stay awake for 48 hours in total. Like it just doesn't happen.
Really? I clearly remember doing that.
Okay, well, you're not a human, and you sold your soul. So anyway, so I was doing it while a majority of people had left to go to sleep. So there were only a couple people, so it was like really quiet anyways. So any move that someone made, you could like hear like that across the floor.
It was great.
And so I'm sitting there in the dark with all the lights on, and my first fear was, these jerks.
all the lights on.
What?
You said I was sitting in the dark with all the lights on.
I'm so scared now. So one of the things I was afraid of, because it was after his Lego building, is these jerks are gonna air horn me. And I every time they did it, I would turn around and be like, you better not have an air horn. You better not have it, because they wouldn't let me look at chat either. No. And I think I only managed to do it for like 15 minutes before I got so upset I was about to cry. And I was like, I just can't. I'm actually gonna have a heart attack and like just lose everything right now.
It was for the kids.
I don't think true story, I worked in a haunted house, and I used to only make them go walk me to my station when they could turn all the lights on. And I worked there. Like, that is how scared I am. I hate all of you.
We'll
I'll
see
do
what
it.
happens this time.
Yeah, sorry, we're gonna wrap up. I'm so angry right now. It's for the kids. There better be a donation goal.
Oh, that will be an incentive goal. Absolutely.
It better be high. Wow. This is karma for me selling you out for the bug. Anyway, well, thank you
we'll
all.
See where it lands.
Thank you all so much for coming. Thank you all, anyone who's watched, donated, supported our streams, anyone who plans on doing it in the future. You can always check us out at minecrack.net. Check us out.
MinecrackLP.com.
Minecrack. Whatever.
Don't send the wrong place.
Google it.
just Google
Farlandsorbust.com.
it.
Yeah, farlandsorbust.com. See where we're at, see where we're going. Join us for our charity stream. Thank you guys so much for coming and join MineCon.